How's it going, people? Today we have Havoc. Now Havoc is our Wukong player. He said he's been playing the game for a relatively short amount of time now. He's Silver 4, and he said that he enjoys the game. He's new to MOBAs, so he doesn't have any of that fundamental League of Legends experience, which of course that may affect some of his decision making in this game. But I imagine with Wild Rift being such a new game that there's probably a lot of people in this situation where they don't have that kind of fundamental League of Legends background, or maybe they played a little bit of ML, but again, it depends on their server. I think this guy is from Europe, so I know mobile games in Europe, at least when I was there, just weren't popular at all. But since I came and moved to Singapore, mobile games are, they're literally everything. Like, the amount of people that play Mobile Legends is pretty insane. But so let's get on with this guy's gameplay, see what we can do for this guy today. He's playing Wukong. Wukong into a Garen by the looks of things. Now, if this was me, the primary things I would be thinking of... Sorry, just to pause this here. I'll wait until the teams come up. Actually, I'll go back for clarity. Okay, here's our team comp. So, on our guy Havoc's side, we got a Akali. Akali must be Akali mid lane. Olaf jungle. Then we got a Lux and a Varus bot lane. Of course, our guy here on Wukong. Nothing out of the ordinary in terms of runes or masteries. I'd say everything looks pretty normal right about now. At least on our side. As for the opposing team, so we got a Gragas. I'm not really sure if Conqueror is the right idea. Maybe on Gragas, it's not bad. I guess Electrocute, Conqueror, I guess that's really up to playstyle. Jinx and Seraphine bot lane, that could be pretty scary. We got a Shinzal and a Garen. So if I was in this position, I like to think a little bit about what it is I'm going to do in the early game, my general kind of game plan. So for those wondering, for those kind of worrying about champion identity, Wukong is a team fighter primarily. Like, yes, he does have some very good scaling actually. If he gets ahead, he almost acts like a secondary assassin. But primarily, Wukong he's focused around his ultimate, and of course his ultimate is designed to get into the back line or even the front line, depending on his level of gold, and just cause lots of havoc. He gets to use his ultimate twice because for some strange reason, Riot decided that would be a good decision to give a character two ultimates. So primarily with Wukong, you're going to want to be grouping around these early dragon fights, Against a Garen, Garen is a lot stronger than Wukong in the early game. Wukong really needs to get some levels, get his first item, maybe a lethality item or perhaps a black cleaver or something like that. And then what Wukong is really looking to, if it was to me, I'd be just looking to try and last hit in the early game, get some gold, punish any mistakes if there's any very obvious mistakes. What I'd really be looking for is that kind of first dragon fight, As we can see, the first dragon of this game is actually an Infernal, so for anyone out there watching this, if the first dragon is Infernal, you have to group for it. Unless the enemy team has an overwhelmingly powerful kind of first dragon, first early team fight comp, you kind of have to group for this Infernal Dragon, because the 8% damage amp is very, very significant. Very significant. It might seem normal, but trust me, it's very high. It's very high. Unless you get aced to take the dragon, it's obviously not worth it, but generally speaking, you should push your wave when the dragon respawns. If you're a top laner, push your wave so you don't miss anything, so you don't lose your tower, and look to group for that early dragon fight. So let's get in the game anyway. Like I said, for me, I wouldn't be looking to fight this guy too much in the early game, because plain and simply, Garen just does more damage. That's just the way the game is. Garen's an early game champion, Wukong's a team fighter. Garen's stronger in these 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s. Wukong's more useful in the 5v5. Okay, Garen spams his spin on the wave at level 1. That means you can actually go in for a Q trade here. Yeah, he doesn't have to do that. If Garen wastes an ability like that, you can just attack him for a little bit, just do a bit of damage, hit him with an ability and run away. Okay, don't do that now. Right. Just to highlight here, you had a good window to attack this guy when he used his spin on the wave there, because at the time when he did that, he didn't really take care of any minions, so the minion numbers were kind of even. However, of course, he would have only had auto attacks to trade back with you, whereas I can presume, I can't see from the screen here, but I can presume you started ability 1, your Q, your kind of auto attack reset. So what you should have done is gone aggressive on him there. Now in this case here, he's level 2. Level 2 is a very big power spike for most champions because, he's got his first ability, he's got his third ability, which will be up in a few seconds. So you could actually, if he uses Ignite on you here, he could hit you with a spin, a silence, and an Ignite. And I dare say you'd be very close to death, to be honest with you. I mean, at the very least, you might have to go back or take the plant. But what you're doing here is you're trying to engage when he's a level up, so he has all the stats, he has an extra ability, and there's 2 minions. Minions do a lot of damage in the early game. So I foresee in the next few seconds, you're going to take a lot of damage. I mean, we can see now, if we look at this Garen right here, he's got his first ability ready. And of course, that's a silence. So if you get hit by that, you can't fight back for 1.5 seconds or something like that. It's one of the reasons why Garen's so strong in the early game. Oh, my apologies. So, let's see. Okay, you disengage, that's good. Try to save as much HP as possible, especially when you're behind. Now the wave is in a very good position for you here, so if you just last hit, this is very safe. Garen, okay. So, I mean, what you did there, mate, is you just went in for a trade that's mathematically impossible to win. Let's watch that again. So you get your level 2, that's good. You do a okay amount of damage at level 2, but Garen still does more. So watch how this works. Garen uses his ability. Okay, now, if you waited about a second longer until his spin was off cooldown there, you wouldn't have got hit by those last 2 spins. Now remember, the way minion aggro works in League of Legends is if you hit somebody with an auto attack or a single target ability, bearing in mind I think all of Wukong's abilities, apart from his ultimate, will trigger minion aggro, then you get hit by minions first. Garen is currently spinning, so Garen is getting to do damage to you without him getting any attacks from your minions. However, because you've dived onto a minion there, you've used an ability on a minion, not on Garen, but then you've started auto attacking him. So you're going to take damage from his spin and take damage from the minions, and there's an ability that you didn't use on him because you used it on the minions. So he's definitely 100% going to win this trade. He hits you with the silence so you can't run away, then you have to flash. Like, you ignited him there, but there was no way you were going to kill him. So, I mean, this trade, the more you play the game, the more you'll understand when you can take these trades and when you can't. But it's a simple rule of thumb. Do you have more enemies than the minion? Sorry, do you have more minions than the enemy does? If so, then, it's always wise to take a trade, and apart from some extreme circumstances or some, But generally speaking, if you've got more minions on your side than their side, then it's a good idea to take a trade. In this case, you went into his ability while it was off, you attacked him, which brought minion aggro, and you used your third ability on the minions instead of him. So that Ignite wasn't going to do anything there. So yeah, I mean, you'll just experience this with time. You'll learn what trades you can and can't take, but that was mathematically impossible to win that trade. You could be the best League of Legends player in the world, and it wouldn't have made any difference in that situation. They would have took the same amount of damage. This is why Garen can be quite oppressive in the early game. You see, he just does a lot of damage. He gets low cooldowns, and he gets his health back from his passive. So it's quite tough to fight him as Wukong. So you should just be looking to get last hits on minions and look for some kind of level 5 player. Okay, you could have gone in for it. Okay, right there. Right there. For anybody watching. Even though there's a big HP advantage here, right? Garen has a big HP advantage. Because you're level 3, what you could have done is he just used his ability 1 and his ability 3. So for the next maybe 4 or 5 seconds or something, he's not going to have anything up. So if you were stood here, anticipating that, if you were stood here, you could ability 3 onto him, hit him with your first ability, and then just clone away. And then you would have dealt to him about, don't know, maybe about 30% of this HP here. Like maybe about 30% of his total HP. But that's a trade that you can take. What you're doing if you take this trade is you're punishing him for using his abilities inefficiently. So even though you're on low HP, you could have taken that trade there to try and equalise a little bit the lane pressure. And then, if the trade goes well, then it could be that you guys are on equal footing here. So yeah, you just got to take advantage of every single situation you can see, basically. Yeah, however, by now he's got his abilities back on cooldown, so it's not going to work out. And he leveled up there. Oh. Okay. Okay, for anybody watching, Garen didn't need to... Garen would have got that kill without flashing in there. So this is actually very good. I mean, you kind of made a mistake there by engaging when he was about to hit level 4, but... you know, he also kind of threw by just giving you a kill anyway, so... The downside to this is you will actually lose more than he will, I think, because these minions will probably push into the tower. Also, just a word of warning, guys, if any of you are thinking of submitting any replays to me, try and do a replay from your perspective while you're in the game. The reason I say this is because, you know, if we look here, I can't see where he's moving the camera or the mini-map or any of these things, you know, I can't see from his point of view how he's layering his abilities, how he's going in for combos, you know, even things like where he has his abilities placed on the screen. All this is useful information. I mean, especially this here, because I can't see what, you know, what items he's buying, so that's a big deal. Going in for a trade there. I'd still be a bit scared though. This guy's still more powerful than you right now. Got lower cooldowns. He's just up front, just more powerful. Just plain and simple as that. Okay, this isn't good. Okay. Yeah, see, that silence really brings into power here. Okay, now the main reason this happened, if we go back, you I saw you were trying to do something cheeky. You're probably trying to go into the bush thinking you'd be invisible. But the issue is, you used your clone here aggressively. Now, using your clone aggressively is fine if you want to go in for a gank, or you want to get like a flank and try and like hit the enemy from the side, like in a team fight or something, or you know, you're trying to set up a team fight and you want to get quick access to the backline. Then using your clone aggressively like this is good because it allows you to reposition. Garen knows where you are. It's very obvious. I mean, there's only one way you can go, and it's going to be here. So in a way, you've kind of not made value out of this ability because, you know, it doesn't achieve anything. It would have been better for you to attack him and then use your clone to disengage after you've done the damage that you want to do. But even more pressing than that, look, 2 minions. Big can, or 3 minions and a cannon minion. You cannot win this trade mathematically ever. I mean, even though your ultimate, because it counts as a stun, it actually resets minion aggro when it hits the minions. So that kind of makes you a little bit more tanky. But even so, it's not going to make much of a difference. I mean, it's kind of good that you got the double clone kind of spin thing off here, but I mean, yeah, just imagine if you had your clone to escape there. Like, yes, you wouldn't have got a kill or anything, but you wouldn't have died. Also, your jungler was coming, as you saw on the minimap, you know, recently. About 10 seconds ago, so if you see the jungler coming, just be patient, you know, just be patient. Like, look at his wave position. Garen has to hit these minions, so he's going to be here for, you know, unless he pushes it at the tower, he's going to be here for the next 30 seconds. Olaf's a very strong early jungler. I mean, you and Olaf, very, very easy to kill this Garen. Honestly, it'd be so easy. You wouldn't even have to use ultimate. So, yeah, just have a little bit more patience when you see the jungler coming like that. That'd be what I would recommend. Also, make sure you keep an eye on the dragon. Dragon is Infernal Dragon, guys. It's going to come up soon. And this guy really wants to get into this fight because the best case scenario for him now is he finds his way into this dragon fight and maybe picks up a triple kill and gets right back into the game. Because right now, you know, he's died twice to Garen, so Garen should have a kill lead on him. This isn't what you want to do for Garen. Now, Garen's making a mistake here by trading into all these minions, but his passive... What to note, guys, Garen's passive is he gets health regeneration if he hasn't taken champion damage, I think it is. So you notice here, right, even though Garen takes minion aggro, he has these green particles around his character, as you can see. Now what that means is even though he's taking damage from the minions here, his passive is just healing it up. See? So that green particle effect is still on him, which means obviously he's still receiving that health regen, even after all this. Okay, just as a general rule of thumb, no need to just go in for a fight like that if you're already behind on golden kills, because, yeah, it's just not going to work. Olaf should get a kill here. Okay, Olaf missed his axe. Okay, no, okay, guys, this is, I didn't realise this at the time, but this is actually really bad. For Olaf, I mean. If any of you guys are junglers, do not gank Baron lane when dragon is about to spawn, especially the Infernal Dragon. Because, I mean, look, right, you got a Luxem base, this guy's going to Baron lane. What's to stop the enemy jungler from just taking this for free right now? And in fact, because this is like silver and actually even all the way up to like platinum, maybe even emerald, this guy, this Akali, will probably see the enemy jungler going for a fight in a dragon and probably just jump in anyway because they feel like they have to, you know, somehow save steal a dragon or something like that, but it might just mean that he just dies as well. So yeah, focus around objectives, generally speaking, is you know, is more valuable than just going for these ganks, especially at this stage of the game. Like, this Olaf doesn't even care, he's just going for the enemy blue buff. I guess nobody wants Infernal Dragon. Heck yeah. Jinx gets a kill. It's kind of unfortunate with it being such a hyperscaler, especially with Seraphine. Okay, we got the kill, that's nice. Yeah, Havoc, mate. I like that you're trying to be cheeky with these things, but you just cannot win. Look, see? Like, what you're losing... Alright, this guy likes flashing in. What you're losing to here is just plain and simple mathematics. You can't win that fight. It's just not possible. Like, if I was playing that, my gosh, if the best player in the world did what you did, then the same thing would happen. It's just mathematically you cannot win that fight, you know? You're a few kills behind now, 3 kills behind. Items, levels, etc. I can't see the gold right now, but I would imagine you're maybe 1,500 gold behind against an early game champion. It's like, yeah, just, you know, just don't fight him at this point. Just take your minions, push, group around a dragon fight, group around a mid fight, and just try and be useful for your team, you know? There's no point trying to fight this guy right now, because I can guarantee from here on, he'll win every single fight. I mean, this is quite good, because, you know, you realise that you had a minion advantage here, so you go and engage upon him. So, I mean, yeah, Garen could have fought you there, I think, but, you know, you made it work. Like, you see your team grouping for dragon. Oh, sorry guys, gotta stop doing that. Okay, you see your team grouping for dragon, right? Like, your mentality right now should be, well, should have been earlier, push this in and just go and join. Because, like, you know, the easier, if you can help get your team ahead, it's less work that you have to do. Like, yeah, you could just sit in your lane and just farm, get kills, get towers and all, you know, all this kind of great good stuff. But the more you can kind of inject, the more gold you can steal from the enemy and inject it into your own teammates, the less work you have to do. And then this is why champions like, engage type support champions, you know, are so powerful in like high elo and things like that. You know, when Blitzcrank first came out in this game, like, some people had like a 60% win rate with Blitzcrank because, you know, people were so new to the game that Blitzcrank was just getting hooks left and right, and he was just giving so much gold to his team. And then, you know, when you're in that situation, it's almost like the game just plays itself. You know, your teammates just know what to do. So that also works if you're playing a champion like Wukong. You know, you just do whatever you can to get your team overall ahead, and then it just benefits you. It means you have to do less individual work. And this is kind of interesting, you see. I don't know too much about Wukong's power windows, but it looks as though at level 7 and 8 and with his first item presumably, that he's actually quite powerful. I mean, look, right, even though that engage was, you know, kind of pointless, he should have died, he still did a lot of damage. Like, just imagine if you were doing that damage to someone that wasn't Garen, like to you know, Shinzao in the jungle, or maybe you go and gank bot lane. A lot of these things they're much more likely to, you know, lead to a more successful outcome than just, like, you know, going toe-to-toe with Garen all the time. Because if this Garen was a good player, like a really good player, or even just like, I don't know, reasonably competent, like, he'd just kill you over and over again. Even on a champion as simple as Garen, like, you know, he just runs at people, he just kills them. It's that simple. It's kind of like a start check in that way. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Don't engage a fight under the enemy tower unless you know for a fact you can kill them. And the only way you could do that is if you were like 4 kills to 0. You know. Amazingly that Garen didn't kill you. But, you know, it looks like bot lane's going well. Yeah, man. Well, it's good that I'm only seeing the same kind of mistake. Like, I mean, you shouldn't be engaging on this Garen because obviously, you know, it's not working, but I suppose it's good in a way that you're actually trying to engage, because at least then you're practicing your mechanics, which, you know, you definitely need at Silver. At Silver, you should just be looking at any way you can to improve your understanding of the game. So if you're going in for fights, at least then, you know what fights you can take and what you can't take. But just as a general rule of thumb, you know, unless you're playing like something that's similarly strong in the early game or ranged, it's just not a good idea to fight Garen. Like, if you go even with Garen until maybe level 6, 7, maybe 8, something like that, then you'll probably do more damage. Like, imagine, right, when you were doing all these trades in the last few levels, if you were even with Garen at this point, like, you would probably just kill him. Because it looks like Wukong is a bit, yeah, it looks like he comes online a bit at about level 6. Maybe about level 7 actually, because you seem to do a lot of damage back then.
Enemy slain.
The enemy team's 3,000 gold ahead, and they've got Infernal Dragon, and they've also got a stronger scaling comp. Like, you know, Jinx, Gragas, very simple to play. Their jungler, very, very simple to play, and he's got Infernal Dragon, so it improves his late game power, and he's on a rampage. So yeah, gotta be careful in this game. How he goes in, you die. Oh my... Okay. Gotta do a bit of reality check, guys. If you are below Emerald, just don't pick Akali, please. Like, Akali is a champion where you need very, very competent mechanics, let's say. You need a lot of games on Akali, and you need to have a very good understanding of when you can take fights. You know, on who you can take fights, the right opportunities, you know, good shroud movement, all of this stuff. You need to have pretty good mechanics and very good decision making to play Akali. She's one of the toughest champions in the game. If you're learning the game and you're in silver, please do not just don't pick Akali. It's just not worth it. Like this guy here, you might think, oh, you know, he did most of everything right, but he used his ultimate in the wrong direction and just gave up a kill. You can't do this with Akali. You need to have very high impact on Akali because the champion's just much less useful. Like look at Gragas, right? Yeah, like Gragas, he can miss 2 abilities, but all he needs to do is get a good body slam or get a good ulti off, and he's going to do a lot of damage. He's going to be very useful. His abilities come back very quickly, and he's very tanky. A champion like Akali, you know, you're playing on a knife's edge all the time. She's very much like Genji in Overwatch. If you're not confident that you can have a very serious impact and consistently take people out the fight without making any mistakes, then please just don't pick Akali. Pick something that's a lot less... You know, something that's a lot easier to play, something that's much more difficult to make mistakes on. That's what I would recommend. Play Annie or something. You might think these champions are boring, but trust me, the impact of the impact of playing imperfectly is only amplified massively when you're playing highly mechanical champions. And if you're in silver, you should just not be playing Akali. It's just not worth it. Also, guys, don't roam when your lane isn't pushed in. Because then they just get to push and they gotta take the tower. So well done for this Gragas for seeing that. But yeah, this Akali just lost mid lane tower for absolutely nothing because he just missed his ultimate. You know, you can't do that, guys. Just play something simple. Anyway, let's see what our guy Havoc can do.
Ally slain. Top turret is under attack. Turret lost.
Man, this Garen. Spinning at the speed of light, just running for that monkey. Can't help himself. I'm very confident. Also, a thing to note, if you want to have like a rough gauge of power without looking at gold, your level is 9, his is 11. You know, levels make a very big difference. So, even if you guys are on even gold, he would win right now because he's got 2 levels ahead of you. Yeah, you can't get this tower. Just run away. I like how Garen got scared for a minute there. He was like, oh no, I can't move. Better run away. Nah, you should have just attacked the tower. So he's got it now. You don't have ulti, so you can't be standing anywhere near this guy. Especially since you don't know where Xin Zhao is. Like, oh, and just like that. Just like that, guys. My mind tells me that Xin Zhao could be anywhere because we got no vision over here. Yeah? So you gotta assume, like, you know, like Schrodinger's jungler, you kind of like, you apply the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics to try and approximate where the jungler might be. And because you have no vision, well, anywhere at all, like literally none apart from these 2 wards, look at that. And one of them is the one you placed, so well done. You only have 2 wards in the entire map, so you just got to assume that the jungler is in your fog of war. It just felt wrong, you know what I mean? And there he was, just like that. You can't fight this guy, he's got many kills. And Garen ults a clone. Maybe he thought you went AFK for a minute there, so you know, gotta take advantage of people going AFK, I guess. Or maybe this guy's just never played against a Wukong before. Anyway, like, you know, you haven't really left your lane once yet. I mean, I know you're new to the game and everything, so you won't really think about this, but Wukong, just think about his kit, right? Wukong has stealth, and he has a very powerful ultimate, which hits people in, like, a big radius. You know, it's designed for team fighting. A champion is not, like... You shouldn't think of a champion like a cool character that you're playing, right? A champion is only the entirety of their abilities, whatever tools a champion brings to a team, or their kit, as you might call it. Think of like a champion's abilities like a set of tools that you bring to, like, I don't know, some kind of conference, right? Everybody's bringing their own separate tools. Or like a chess piece. Imagine League of Legends is 5 chess pieces against 5 chess pieces. But obviously each piece can do more than one thing, like they can in chess. They can do obviously all their abilities. So, you know, different pieces have different strength. Wukong's kit, narratively, makes him like a team fighting type champion. He wants to get these like small skirmishes and team fights, so he can do a lot of damage with his ultimate. So if you just stay in your lane, you know, you might as well just pick something that's good for 1v1s, like a Fiora. In fact, actually, Fiora might suit your playstyle a lot. Like, yeah, she's quite mechanically intensive, but she, you know, she could be a good learning experience because you seem to like to dive in. You like to go for fights, and you go for the 1v1 rather than going to help your team. Some people, you know, they prefer to be like the more team-orientated type guy, picking Malphite, that kind of thing, or even Wukong. Wukong's kind of like both, I suppose. He's kind of good in the 1v1. He's kind of good in the team fights. He's kind of like a mix of the two. But, you know, you might want to look at picking Fiora. She has a bit of a weird play style. She's quite difficult to play properly, but, you know, could be fun. Suits your play style a bit better. Or even Olaf. Actually, Olaf, no. Olaf should be our new champion. Super, super simple. All Olaf wants to do, right? He's like, Olaf is like some kind of runaway car. The Olaf players, they don't have brake, they just have acceleration. He's like a drag race. He's a drag race champion. You press your accelerator and you just go forwards. Yeah. It's like, imagine you're playing a game, right? You've got your W, A, S, and D to control, and someone is just like super glued the W key down, so all you can do is go forward. That's what Garen does. Yeah. Sorry, not Garen. That's what Olaf does. He just goes in, he just fights, he just does things, and he's pretty good at it if you get ahead. I mean, if you get ahead, yeah. Olaf does a lot. I don't think that flash is necessary when you've got an axe. It's good that you got a kill though, a big shutdown. Just be careful of Xin Zhao. I actually think you guys can 2v1 this. No, fight him, go on. You can do it. You got ulti, I think. You should have ulti, right? Unless you used it in the last fight. I didn't really notice too much.
Ally slain.
Okay, that's unlucky. But I mean, you know, chasing him in the fog of war, he could have been anywhere here. In fact, you know, it's good to chase for a kill if you feel like you can definitely get it, but at this point it kind of becomes a bit risky. Okay, so I mean, this game looks pretty doomed right now. You should always try, when a game's like this, you should always try and find your kind of one possibility to come back into the game. You know, you just got to think about your one situation. What's the one thing I can do to try and get back in the game here? So one thing, the enemy hasn't taken Dragon. They haven't taken Baron. They're kind of pushing. You know, it's kind of good for them. They seem to be doing quite well. But just look for like these overextensions like this. Like you can kill Jinx here 100%. Okay, yeah. I don't need to chase. Yeah, see. The reason why this happened here, right? You're fine here going to kill this Jinx, but when it comes to this area, you know, it just opens this whole kind of fog of war kind of debacle here, where it's like, you know, this bush here, you don't know who's hiding in there, and lo and behold, 2 members of the enemy team were... Lux still has ulti, obviously. Oh, sorry, no, Lux is on your team. Forget about that. But yeah, I mean... You should chase to the point where it's safe to do so, but it wasn't safe as soon as you passed that imaginary line back there, because, you know, you went into an area where you didn't have full vision.
Legendary.
But yeah, I mean, at this stage, you just got to keep doing things like this. Just make sure you got a ward on the Baron. The Dragon's not too crucial now, because the next Dragon is Ocean, but, you know, if you guys get the Ocean, that's not going to win you the game. What you need to do is just find... in any way you can, try and put some vision in your... My god, look at this, guys. Nobody's placed any wards in the jungle. It's like, it's really quite fascinating. Like, I know wards sometimes, I think, especially in the lower ranks, tend to get a bit overrated, but they are very valuable, and these are the situations where wards are super valuable. Like, you need to always have one ward on Baron. That's a requirement. You should always have a ward on Baron at all times, because that's one opportunity where you can get back into the game. Now, for those that don't know, the team that is being attacked by Baron suffers like a debuff to their resistances, so they will take more damage. So if you engage upon a team that's taking Baron, you'll do more damage than you normally would. So that's why it's good to have Baron, because if they take Baron, they will end the game very quickly. But if you can somehow steal a Baron, like, yes, you know, it's not guaranteed. Like, the chances of you losing this game are very high. You know, a Baron steal could bring you right back into the game, especially if you kill 2 or 3 of their members, or even ace them. And, you know, people make mistakes all the time. People overextend. They just walk around the jungle without really realizing. So if you guys have wards, like maybe here, one in the Baron pit, and then maybe one here around red buff, because you know that the enemy team is going to try and steal this. So you just got to increase the chances that you can spot the enemy doing something they shouldn't be doing. And the best way to do that in these situations where you don't have any towers to hide behind is just to put them in your jungle and put them around Baron, because if the enemy team gets Baron, they will win the game very quickly. Yeah, this is a bit too risky to jump here. Yes, they have 3 people top lane. Actually, no, it's fine now. Okay, so yeah, only Garen's here because Gragas showed mid lane. So if Gragas and Garen showed up there, they could have killed you. But you know, it's good that you're pushing your lane out, getting jungle farm, so you're getting every bit of gold you can. However, if I were you right now, I'd just go and help out in Dragon Lane, because you know they could get an inhibitor here. You don't need to fight Garen at this stage. Like, even if you kill him, it's not going to do very much. Do not engage on this guy. Okay, we don't know where Garen is, so we can assume he just followed you. Okay. Yeah, you didn't need to ult that, because now you don't have ulti for the rest of the fight. But you know, you gotta kill, so this is what you need to be doing. Just, yeah, same with this Akali, right? Just look for these little picks here and there. Trust me, people make mistakes all the time. They always throw the game. And the good thing is, the enemy team still hasn't got Baron, and they still haven't taken an inhibitor. Unless mid is gone, I actually can't quite see from here.
Inhibitor turret is under attack.
Oh no, mid is still there. So okay, they still haven't taken an inhibitor. And it's 14 minutes in the game. Like, for anybody watching, if the enemy team wanted to win now, 5 people Baron, 5 people mid, game's over. Like, the gold lead is 14,000, it's just so high. Sinzao going in top side there. You could probably go and join this. Like, but if you think about the game as it is right now, it's worth doing things which are risky. Because what chance do you have? You know, it's like the enemy team is going to win kind of soon, unless you do something which in normal circumstances might be considered a bit risky. But you kind of got to take that risk. So Shinzal moving up here, right? He's engaging on a 3. You're here, Akali's here. The enemy team is following him, but if you're quick as soon as you see him, if you go there, then, you know, it's possible that you guys can kill him before the enemy team joins. Like, yes, it's not a guarantee. He could still kill one of you. You know, he could go on one, ult, kill, and then go away. A few things can happen, but at this stage, you just got to try and take the risk, because, you know, if you guys just sit in your tower the whole time, then yeah, they're just going to win. So I like that this is happening, but I think you could have moved a little bit faster, I think. Yeah, but it's okay. I mean, you got the kill. You might lose mid inhibitor for this, but you know, if you guys can get one more kill, you can get Baron. Oh, I don't think we're looking into. Okay, this could be good. Very good ultimate by Gragas there. Very good ultimate. Okay, this isn't bad. Yeah, okay. See, like, this all happened because they had a guy down and they were missing their most strongest member. And while you guys, you know, like, while Gragas got a very good ultimate there, you guys still did a lot of work. So it's little things like this that you got to try and find to come back into the game. Now place wards, look for people overextending, just try and find some way to like place these very, you know, to capitalize on these very obvious and very silly mistakes by the enemy team. Because trust me, when people get ahead, they tend to get super overconfident, you know. They play like the game's already won. It's like walking around, just killing stuff, going in for these 1v5s. The downside is once you get to around platinum, these are the things that will cause you to lose the game. Like just this random, like, you know, over-chasing, overextending, etc. But, you know, at silver, I would expect to see this every single game, you know, people just messing around, for lack of a better word, just messing around. Watch out for that TP, be very, very careful here, you guys are gonna die. Like, okay, yeah. So not only did the TP appear here, right, very, very, very obviously, about 10 seconds ago, there's no vision here, so I would expect the whole enemy team, apart from obviously the Seraphine, to just jump on you right now. Especially since, you know, you got, okay, yeah, guys got Guardian Angel. This Lux is playing with fire, man. Okay, one Baron, just jump in. Just jump in, man, go and do it. Ah, no way.
Ally slain.
Ah, that's unlucky. You should have just jumped in now. You know, you might as well try something.
Ally slain.
I don't know if you have flash or not, but if you have flash, you could have just jumped in, tried to do some damage with your ultimate. If you can't, then just run away. Yeah, you did have flash.
Ally slain. Inhibitor turret is under attack.
Yeah, this is the power of Baron, guys. Just look at what the enemy team is doing. Like, even though this guy's got ulti, it's doing nothing. No offense, of course, you're trying your best, but it's just a fact of the game. Okay, okay. Okay, so unfortunate loss there, but yeah, the main things for you to work on really, it's just, I know you're quite new to the game and everything, but the first thing is just mathematics. You know, you were just taking fights in the early game there that was just, it was just impossible for you to win, quite simply, you know. General thing that I see, and actually I noticed this with the Garen game last game, is that people, you know, you don't take trades, don't go in for like trades with people when they have a minion advantage. In your case though, you also engaged on Garen when you also had a level advantage, which of course, you know, that's like extremely, extremely risky. Don't engage on anyone that's got a level advantage and a minion advantage, because you're just doing exactly what they want. They will win that trade. You know, just general mistakes, I suppose, just champion and mechanic knowledge. It's like, the more you play the game, the more you'll develop the ability to know when, if you take a trade, when it's favourable for you. But general type of things you could think about are, one, count the minions. If you have more minions than the enemy and you engage, chances are you'll do more damage, unless they have their ultimate. Secondly, actually, level, champion level. If you're even, you can assume the trade, you know, you can assume that it might be okay to trade in certain circumstances depending on the matchup. But if the enemy team has, the enemy player has any kind of level advantage on you, you got to know you will be disadvantaged if you go for a trade. You know, outside of certain champion interactions, like, I don't know, there's many examples, I can't think any off the top of my head, but generally speaking, you know, if the enemy has a level advantage on you, they get extra HP, extra armor, extra magic resist, extra base stats, and of course they're going to get another ability. So, you know, it's just not wise to engage on the enemy when they've got a level lead. So we got, and the last one of course is gold lead, so we got count the minions. This is, you know, something that not a lot of people do. See whether you have a level lead or a level disadvantage against the enemy. And also check gold. And the last one is cooldowns. So, you know, if you see a guy use an ability, well, you know he's not going to have it again for another 5, 10, 20 seconds, especially if it's an ultimate. So, yeah, you just, the fundamentals of laning essentially just comes down to these 4 things. It's like, you know, if I take a trade right now based off all these 4 things that I thought about, am I more likely to win? The most obvious one, I suppose, is cooldowns. So it's kind of like, you know, play lots of different champions and then you'll see what different champions' cooldowns are like. You might find that some champion who you're scared of has like a 20-second cooldown on an ability. And then if you get familiar with this, you'll know that if you're playing against a person that doesn't play properly, you'll realise that they waste their highly valuable abilities. Or you might actually realise that certain champions, all their damage is loaded into one ability, and they might just waste that ability, and then you'll think, okay, well, I can go for a trade here. So you kind of just got to weigh up all these different situations and then see if what you do is beneficial or not. And then, you know, you can test these things out. So if you see you have a minion advantage, a level advantage or whatever, you can go in for a trade, they'll trade back, and then you'll realize that you do more damage than they do. And then you'll be like, oh, it works. And then just like the scientific process, you'll just refine this over and over again until a point where, you know, you'll be able to consistently generate leads in lane on your own. But I don't want to overwhelm you too much. I'm not going to go into like any detailed macro or anything, because in your case, I think you just need to play more. You know, I think you just need, play maybe a few hundred more games. Play Wukong if you like, but I would actually just recommend playing Olaf. I think he fits into your play style. You know, just run at things. Just run at things, hit them, and if you get a lead, you kind of take over the game. But if you just engage on Olaf, the thing is you'll win most trades, so you'll probably get a good idea. If you've got a champion that's very strong early, in some ways it's quite educational, because you won't have to focus too much about early trading. You can just focus on, you know, running down and killing things. Although eventually, of course, you know, don't just focus on that one play style, because to be a good League of Legends player, you need to develop everything, because in League of Legends, you're only as strong as your weakest aspect. So, you know, you might have, good example, there's some AD carry players, there's some marksman type players who have the mechanics of, let's say, a diamond player, but they're stuck in low emerald because they just lack in some fundamental areas. Like, that's quite common, especially in PC League of Legends. But yeah, so I mean, just play the game more. I mean, just take the advice that I've kind of submitted here. You know, go back, watch some of my other videos, or just message me on Reddit or Facebook or something like that, and I'll try and help out. So yeah, good luck, mate, and, you know, well done. Continue, gambare.